Hey guys,
Hey,
I'm Alicia,
and I'm Meredith.
and this is Summer is Fun, a Summer House podcast. We're at the first reunion. It was
Wow.
amazing.
The first real reunion, too.
I texted Meredith that I don't know why it took everyone so long to give Summer House a fucking reunion, because this was one of the best reunions I have ever seen.
Yeah,
Bravo
we're in season 5, and this is their first real reunion.
This was an awesome
I guess
reunion.
I think last year they would have gotten a real reunion.
Yes, but then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Also, Meredith and I have not discussed anything.
I told Alicia, do not tell me anything of your thoughts. I want it all recorded.
I
have
want
so many
to know,
thoughts.
I watched this Friday, and afterward, I was hyped. I was like, oh, ooh, what are we? I was looking at tweets. I was posting them on our Instagram.
Oh
I was
my God. Alicia, I was showing our podcast Instagram to everyone I know who watches the show. I was like, look at all these tweets.
Summer House was fucking insane. Insane. Okay. Let's clean up or do housekeeping, and then
let's clean up.
We'll get into it. Let's clean our shit up really quick. So we are the A&M Podcast Network. On there, you can also find One Season Wonders, which should be coming back soon. Eventually, we'll record.
Yeah,
But that's the show where Meredith and I watch a show that only had one season and then talk about it. We're going to be doing it again, so just check it out. Also, we have our Vanderpump podcast. It's about the pasta. Season 9 was just released or
announced.
So it was
Season 9 coming this fall.
So that's going to keep going, I guess. We're in Vanderpump until 2025 at this point. We're never stopping.
We are together forever, Alicia.
Literally forever. We can never get into a fight. We're forced to be friends. We're business partners.
Yeah, but I love doing this. This keeps me going every week.
So if you really like Vanderpump Rules, please be sure to join our Facebook group. Same name as our Vanderpump podcast. It's about the pasta. So you can find that. We put all our Vanderpump news and stuff in there. But since this is Summer House and we don't discriminate, that's where you go to our Instagram to find everything Summer House at Vanderpasta. Listen up. This season was crazy. I posted a bunch of pictures. Lindsay liked a bunch of them. Kyle liked a few. I posted all these tweets about the reunion because I was freaking out.
I watch it legit as a fan of our own Instagram.
I loved it. On Friday, I was like, this is my favorite Instagram I've ever done. Also, patreon.com/Vanderpasta. Listen, there's so much you can get for only small amounts of money. So for $1 a month, you will get access to any episodes that we record early. That right now only includes Vanderpump Rules season 3 that's not released. But eventually
we are rolling
Summer House.
We are going to straight into season 1 of Summer House, but we'll
release
it later.
Yeah, that'll be released on Patreon as soon as we record it, but it won't be released to the public until way later. So please catch up. Also, you get access to our pre-show, which is where Meredith and I just talk about fucking anything. We got super personal today. So if you really want to get to know us, this is the place.
I have fun news. I'm going to be a fun person again this fall.
Go listen to why Meredith is so fun. And I'm not. I'll be fun for a week with Meredith. We'll see.
Yes.
Okay. And then for $2 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus you get access to our after show, which is where we do any kind of spoilers for the shows that we go back and watch. So right now that's only Vanderpump, but eventually will be Summer House because we want to do those spoiler free to the public. But we got thoughts because we love to judge people forwards, backwards, past, future, doesn't matter. Also, we'll say your name on the podcast. And thank you. So thank you to Dustin and Jackie and Tracy and Mariah. I always put it in a different order, just like who I think of first.
To share the love.
Yeah. So those are our 4 favorite patrons because there are 4 only patrons, but there are 4 favorite listeners.
Yes.
That's nice. Also available is our $5 a month status, which is everything I just mentioned. Plus, you get access to ask us any questions or give us your thoughts or whatever. So I post for live shows. So right now it's just Summer House. Eventually will be Vanderpump Rules and Winter House.
Yeah.
Listen up. So I'm going to ask everyone for their thoughts for those live shows. So if you want to give me your thoughts, that's the place to do it. We appreciate your thoughts if you whatever, like want to share for free.
Where you are on the spectrum, but
we
might be shared.
We might share, we probably won't. Will depends how long I ramble, but usually it's just $5 a month patrons. Also, we pick a patron of the episode, but our 2 $5 a month patrons are married and they're our podcast parents. So thank you to Jackie and Dustin. You again are our patrons of the episode. And they do have some thoughts we will be getting to later at the end.
I think that's it.
Okay. Woo, we get to talk about it. Wait, I'm for the reunions, only for the reunions, I am going to mix it up.
Look at you.
I have a Truly lemonade because that's all that's in my parents' fridge. So
I'm having water because I drank all the alcohol in my fridge this week.
All right, ready for me to crack this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't get it. Okay. There we go.
That sounded really good.
It's black cherry. It's a little rough because I was a little hungover today, but I'm doing it for the show.
Here we are.
Let's get
Alicia is fun.
Alicia is fun. Meredith, not fun.
Not
fun. Okay, so reunion time. We're COVID safe. Paige, it looks like Paige and Hannah are getting ready together, and Paige wants to clear up that Hannah is not a bitch. We're doing behind the scenes before the actual reunion.
Yep, getting ready. Yeah, they definitely are buddied up. I liked that.
Yeah, but we learned like Carl's still working at Loverboy. Hannah's engaged. Danielle and Lindsay are drinking. They look like ketchup and mustard. They are, and the Carl best
is
friends.
Their hot dog.
Oh my god, I almost died. Kyle's trying to get more volume on his hair. The boys look fly. Andy's on his phone when the crew kind of rolls up. And we all sit down and we get the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We want to give a congratulations to Carl on being named the male hottest Bravo celebrity on Instagram.
Woo! Go Carl.
Luke has also won, but not Kyle.
Kyle is
not hot. Not fun. Not fun, Kyle. Sorry. Carl hot. We learn Amanda. So we're doing introductions. Andy asks like one random question.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda and Kyle have 7 dogs and they pee just as much as Kyle does around the house. We get a fun Kyle pee. This is Sierra's first reunion. Andy warns her he might ask a question past 9 p.m., which we got her. How much wood did Luke chop?
Oh. My God.
Fire. This is the best bit. It was the funniest bit.
Someone on Instagram this week tagged Luke in a story that like said something like it was a bunch of like wood, and they basically said like, I wish Luke was here to chop all of this wood for me, and he like reposted it and I died laughing.
That's it. This was such a fun fucking bit. But it is fun to watch Luke chop wood. Listen, whether you're into Luke,
he is hot.
Or you just like love watch like the bit. It was funny enough that even if Luke was the ugliest person, I'd be like, this is awesome to watch him chop some wood.
He says it's a good workout. It shows.
So Paige had 5 different outfits picked out, but she went with the pussy bow is what they called it. And
Andy
I was like,
called it. And Paige was like, that's not what it's called, but it's okay. I don't understand that. I've never heard that.
I didn't get that either. Lindsay, there are sandwiches on set. Lindsay takes it in stride. That was funny. She's good. She's like she might go crazy, but she takes it in stride.
She does well with like reflecting on how she was each season.
Very funny.
I don't think she takes things too bad to heart and like learns from each season, even though she's always a crazy person.
So congrats to Hannah on the engagement to Des. Paige approves of the ring, but then Paige says that Hannah originally wanted a pearl necklace. And so everyone was like, ugh, because listen, I Googled what a pearl necklace was because I fucking didn't know.
What is it? I didn't know.
It's when a man comes on a girl's neck or nearby area.
Oh.
So that's why everyone was like, we're all thinking the joke. And I was like, oh.
Also, that's just weird. That's what she actually wanted. Like, not joke included.
A pearl necklace? Yeah. No,
like,
whatever.
You can get that for me for an anniversary gift.
Oh, I'm sure Des gives it to her a lot.
Oh,
okay. So, okay. Andy makes a comment like, I cannot believe you guys lived in a house for 6 weeks on your own. And I was like, I swear Andy also thought this was real world sometimes.
Well,
Like,
yeah. And he's
also,
like, I love his comment. If you didn't have therapists before, you do now. And I was like, fuck yes.
So we relived the season super quick. I just want to let you know, and everyone else know, my favorite part of like the reviews of the season is still Luke walking in and going, you know what? I don't like you. And Kyle freaking out. That is the funniest thing. You know what? I don't, because if someone said that to me,
I don't like you.
If someone said that to me, I'd be like, okay.
I'd be like, oh my God, they're hammered.
Sounds good. Shut up. Like,
okay.
Great. Okay, so Andy wants to know if anyone ever got caught being unprofessional in the background of a Zoom work call. And Danielle was like, yes, I work with a bunch of fucking males. And Lindsay walks in all the time in her red bikini.
I did not actually think that I did not think about those types of things.
Yeah, I'm sure Lindsay works, but she didn't work the same hours as Danielle. So Lindsay's probably like, I'm going to go say hi to Danielle and just fucking bust my ass in.
Yeah.
And she's probably walking.
Because she works for herself. Like, it's just a totally different thing. Plus, I just assumed like, since everybody has their own room, everybody would be separated. I didn't really think about people popping in and out of each other's rooms during the day.
I didn't think about it. But then now that I think about it, when my roommate and I would pop in her room all the motherfucking time.
Yeah.
So Amanda does walk by her or Kyle's Zoom calls without pants though. And Carl's like, I've seen it. But it's always a long shirt. So it's covered, but it looks like no pants. We thank Sierra for being a nurse. Sierra says it was hard to get back into the swing of things, but it was really muscle memory. But no one from work knows she's on the show, which I would do too. I like that.
I agree. I think she probably likes having her life separate, and it makes sense. Her hair is pulled back. She has a mask on still. Yeah. She said her badge has her last name, which I didn't think about that. Yeah. I didn't know.
But she covers it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sierra Miller is also a very common name. She could be known Sammy. I don't know. But did Paige and Hannah get bed sores because they were always in bed? Probably. Sierra was like, I told them to turn over every 2 hours. And I was like, oh God.
They were in bed all
the time.
Which I work from my bed. When I'm in a bad mood and I don't want to do my job, I need to sit and watch TV. I like kind of bribe myself to like get my tasks done sometimes. Yeah. So I'll work from my bed or my couch sometimes, but they were always in bed.
Paige only needs to get out of bed
to take a photo.
Realistically, yes, to get changed and get ready and take a photo. Hannah could probably lay around. I could podcast from bed. I choose not to because it's easier to sit up, but I totally could podcast from bed. That's not a problem. So, I mean, okay, let's get into it. Time for Hannah and Luke and the relationship of literally nothing.
We're diving right in.
So Hannah was so ready to see Luke because they dated LMFA, and he's like, remember when you guys dated?
He's like, they dated, but it depends on who you ask. And then it also depends on how you define dating, and also if sex was included, and then also what the definition of sex was. I was like, you know what? That is the best way to describe them.
Yeah, it like depends, but they dated. So, where did Hannah think this relationship was going? Basically, Luke told Hannah that they shouldn't do a label.
This is Hannah's version.
Yeah, Hannah says that Luke said they shouldn't do a label. And Luke apparently told Hannah that they were friends, and Hannah said that's good because it would have made it. Oh, Luke said that, right?
Yeah. Then Luke's version is that when they had a chat, they were just friends, and Hannah said, that's good because if we slept together, that would make things harder. Which I can see both of these conversations happening.
Listen, I think it's somewhere in the middle, or I think you only hear what you want to hear. You think it has been proven this season that Hannah only hears what she wants to hear, and Luke super sucks at communicating. So
it probably went like this. Hey, what do you think we are? Well, I mean, we're such great friends.
But we shouldn't put a label on it.
I don't really think I want to put a label on it.
Great. And Hannah was like, oh, good thing, jokingly, good thing we didn't have sex because it would have made it harder if you said that to me. Ha ha.
Can't wait to see you this summer, though.
Bill. Okay, so Kyle then calls Hannah out for wanting more, and everyone agrees. We get shots of everyone nodding their head. And Paige comes into Hannah's defense and says Hannah liked Luke, and Luke did like Hannah, and no one's denying that because he went down on Hannah for 3 hours. So you gotta enjoy someone's company to fucking do that.
Yeah.
But like the dating thing is still very skewed.
Yeah, I think in this moment I kind of felt bad for Hannah because I feel like they're putting all the emotions and feelings and thoughts behind the relationship on her, which it wasn't one-sided. It's not like she was his stalker. Even if like nobody wants to say they dated or even put like, again, labels on it. It wasn't a one-sided relationship. No. So I don't like when they talk about it like that.
Yeah. I agree. I think watching it again, I think Hannah is kind of delusional, and I think Luke super sucks at explaining what he really wants or what he thinks, and then he kind of skews the story to his own thing, and then
I don't think he has any idea the ramifications for him not communicating, and then also for the way he then unfortunately portrays things to other people.
Yeah,
I don't think he understands how it comes off truly.
Yeah. So if Luke could, he would want to go back and not do it again because it affected her. But no one's buying Hannah's shit right off the bat. Everyone, Danielle said Hannah came in thinking about Luke, but also dating Des, which is kind of true. And
she wasn't dating Des though.
She wasn't dating Des. You're right.
They make the Des relationship way more serious than it was when she came into the house.
Yeah, 2 dates and a fuck. She was talking to Des. We should do that. She was thinking about Luke, talking to Des, and then Hannah tries to defend herself, but then Lindsay says that Hannah had someone else in her vagina. So already the reunion's hot on Hannah.
Yes, which I like. Hannah says this, like, sex does not equal feelings, but having a guy call her every day does mess with her emotions. And I don't think everyone outside of Paige saw Luke and Hannah's relationship of what it actually was. They're getting probably what Luke is saying, which not that he's saying like anything like false by any means, but I don't think he's truly communicating the full picture. Because who says like I call Hannah every day?
I honestly think it was the Des thing, and I only think the housemates are annoyed by it because Hannah came in. And all the drama at first was like, Luke led me on, Luke did this, Luke did that. And she never communicated, like, Luke called me every day. And like, there was this thing, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out that it overlapped with Des. Yeah. And then everyone's like, well, you try to put the whole blame on Luke, which is like not accurate either. Like, I honestly think they're both to blame. And I hate this relationship. And I'm so happy it's not a thing anymore.
It's just like a lack of communication on everyone's part.
And Andy even brings it up like no judgment, but did Hannah view the hookup with Des as a fuck or more? And Hannah, I think she viewed it as a fuck. I really do think she did.
I really do think she did. I think she'd be very honest with that shit at this point because like they're going to have a future.
Yeah. And Luke felt that it was super hypocritical, and I get it because Hannah came in and blah, blah, blah. But
it was hypocritical a little bit.
There was a lot of emotions. There was a lot of differences. I think we were on edge because we were spending 6 weeks together and we didn't know what was happening. And
I feel like Hannah felt, what is the word? Rejected when Luke came with Sierra. And I think Hannah really did go into the season thinking, you know what? I wonder if something will happen with Luke. If it will, it's going to be now. Like, this is the last shot. If anything is going to happen, or if we're going to have a relationship, or we're going to sleep together, friends with benefit, if anything is going to happen, it would happen this season. So it's probably like let's see what it is. I'm going to like leave everything else at home. And then it's like, she came in maybe wondering if something was going to happen, and it was immediate, like, no.
And then she started talking to Des, and that's where their relationship blossomed.
Mm-hmm. But she was also like vindictive about it, I think. I think she was hurt because she felt rejected. And so like that's how a lot of that stuff came out.
And then Kyle brings up that he was confused because Hannah even FaceTimed a different guy that wasn't Des while they were in the house, which is then Hannah saying she was talking to a bunch of different guys, which I think that's fair. You can play the field if you fucking want. Mm-hmm. But I think that I wonder
you
if
just can't come for Luke for playing the field either then.
Yes. Yes.
You can say
That's
you were sending me mixed signals. I'm upset about that.
Yes.
But yes, I also was choosing then to play the field. Once I felt hurt, I went on and played the field.
And you can't blame Luke for it. Yeah, that's a really good place to put. Like, it was very hypocritical because you wanted one thing from Luke, but you were doing another thing. That's great. I love that. So Luke then wants to know why Hannah treated him the way she did. And Hannah claims like she never said that Luke was leading her on and she was upset, but said it wasn't because she was in love with Luke. And then this is where Amanda is a little shade, which I love. She, under her breath, is like, we all watch the same show, right? Which is like one of my favorite memes that popped up on Twitter.
Yep. But no everybody's like, you literally spent the whole season talking about him. Like, you were borderline obsessed with him.
Yeah. Hannah just said she wasn't in love. And even Danielle is like, you said you were in love in interviews, which I can't recall, but like, maybe.
I don't either. And I think they would have shown them.
Listen, I don't confirm nor deny.
I think she said he was in love with her. Like, he's obsessed with me. She kept saying that type of stuff. She was never talking about her feelings in most interviews.
Yeah, I honestly can't confirm or deny, but maybe not. But Hannah says she was hurt about the Sierra thing, but she was talking to other guys because she was single, and everyone's like, oh my God. And this is where Kyle's like, I want to just fucking jump off a cliff after everything she said.
That was also circulating.
Another meme. And Andy's like, do you get though, Hannah, how this is kind of fucking insane? Like, do you get it? But Hannah doesn't really get it because her and Paige then ended. Paige really had Hannah's back, but they ended as like, we're over this. Let's move on.
Yeah, because I think Paige did a really good job in this. This first like reunion of trying to like be like, okay guys, there's a lot of people talking at her at once, because that you can't feel ganged up on, and that's not cool when everybody is kind of like shouting things at you, no matter how wrong you are. That's never a good feeling.
Agreed.
And Paige was like, okay, I think we've exhausted this topic, like, let's go.
Yes. I think my only thing is, I mean, and I get it's hard for Paige, I sympathize with her being in between Hannah and Amanda, but there were some points I was like, if I was Amanda, I'd be like, shut up, Paige.
Later on, yes,
later on. But Paige never said anything to Amanda. When Amanda would like yell at Hannah, she only would say stuff to Kyle, which was I like noticed it immediately. I'm crazy. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna rewatch this again after we talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about Luke bringing Sierra. Everyone relives how beautiful Sierra is. But she has the messiest bed in the world. Thank God we talked about this. This girl.
I love that Hannah says like, first season mistake. You got to put all your clothes underneath the camera, which I never thought about, but it's genius.
But, and then we relive Hannah being kind of fucking insane when Sierra walked in. Hey, Anita! And Sierra's like, thank God, because she is so nice. Sierra didn't feel weird, and she's glad it happened because Sierra was super nervous to enter a new house.
I think it would be more weird if Hannah did stay like completely quiet.
I do too. There's a nice medium, and Hannah she's
but that's
never
hard
a medium
to do.
Type of girl.
It's hard to be in the medium when you feel so uncomfortable and so like shocked.
Listen, everyone else knew, and it was fucking weird, but Sierra was like, this is fine, I'll take what like, I can get.
Didn't know anyone, so I appreciated it.
So Carl in the summer house had called Sierra the hottest girl ever to come through the summer house, and it's her smile. Carl loves her smile.
But he's hooked up with every other girl on the stage except for Hannah, and
he's not about to, so that might be the one. But I love that he goes, I used to work in the dental industry, so her smile really like stuck out to me.
Didn't he used to do sales?
Yeah, like for dental equipment. And Sierra was also into Carl. That's her number one pick in the summer house, so it's perfect. I can't wait for them to date. But oh my God, okay. So Sierra and Luke have had sex. We've learned this. Sierra and Luke were both rebounding when they were together
in Minnesota.
Yeah, and after that, she decided not to have sex for a year and a half. And Luke did not take it personally because abstinent takes a lot of discipline.
I didn't like that question. I felt like it was such a dig at him.
That was such a dig.
Not even related to him.
That's like, okay, in 8th grade, I dated this guy, which like obviously meant nothing, but he didn't really date anyone until senior year when again I dated him. But people would joke all the time, like, he's not dating anyone. Like, Alicia turned him gay. And I'd be like, oh my God, that's so upsetting to think about.
It's like, okay, what does it have to do with me? They're like their choices.
Yeah, you're kind of fucking digging at the dude, but you're really fucking coming at me.
Yeah.
But sorry, that's what this reminded me of. And I was like, oh, poor Luke. But it's fine. Sierra had a good time in Minnesota. They weren't ready to be together. But then we find out Luke actually ghosted and blocked Sierra after her second Minnesota trip because he got back with his ex. And he explained what happened after the fact, but to Sierra, it just seemed like she was blocked.
He just dipped for 8 months and then finally explained it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I'm like, his ex must just have like such a tight hold on him.
She is traumatized after this relationship because Luke sounds insane sometimes. He's not a good communicator and he'll just block your ass after you go to Minnesota.
He needs to go to therapy.
Yeah, honestly.
Everybody needs to go to therapy in my mind.
Yeah,
that's
everyone.
Not a dig on him, but
everyone on this stage.
This is something he can work on.
But Luke and Sierra are friendly. They're not friends because Luke was really frustrated with the way Sierra treated him this summer. But he wishes her the best. To which Lindsay then is like, that's false. You don't wish him the best. And Luke's like, no, I actually do wish her the best.
She's like, I hate when guys say that.
They don't actually mean it. You wish her a decent life.
Which I'm like, that's the same thing.
Okay, but no. Decent is like, it's not the best, but it's not the worst.
But like, I wish you well. I wish you a decent life.
Do you wish your exes the best?
Not the best. He said, I wish you well.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah. Whatever. He was like, I wish you well. Like, I hope you're happy.
Oh, I thought he said wishes her anything but the best. It literally doesn't matter. Whatever. I wish you
yes. Like, I wish them well. I don't want like bad things to happen to them, but I'm not like, oh my God, I hope you're making $1 million a year.
I wish 2 of my exes well, and I wish my other ex to death. But other than that,
there are people where I'm like, fuck you. But like, I'm not like, oh, I want harm to come upon you.
I'm thinking of like my most serious ex, and I always see him around, and I'm always like, I hope he like figures it. Like, I hope he does great. I hope he figures it out. Like,
no ill will. No ill will.
If he doesn't, I'm not sad about it.
I'm not. Yeah. Yes. I'm not like championing by his side to make sure he's
if he wins $1 million, great. If he loses $1 million,
you're indifferent.
Oh well. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, the fact that Lindsay's got some issues. Lindsay needs to go to therapy.
She goes so hard for other people's issues. Like, her and Kyle get so involved with other people's things.
This was literally out of nowhere. I wish her the best. That's false.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. I'm going to tell you how you feel. You don't fucking wish her anything.
Oh my God.
He's like, even Sierra was like, I think he would wish me the best.
Yeah,
like,
I think Luke really would. I think he is like truly down to his heart, a nice person.
He's not mad. Sierra's not mad.
He's a Midwestern kid. He does wish her well.
In the Midwest, you light a fire and you wish everyone the best with your flames. That's it. Okay, I love the between segments. We're not going to go into it, but like, I think Paige has Hannah smaller armpit, and it's funny. And that was a Giggly Squad meme. It wasn't a real Twitter meme because everyone really hated on Hannah. I went in and read a few Instagram comments. I was trying. And all for Hannah were love, nothing but love. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck? So I find this one comment that was like, why are all these for love? I'm confused after the reunion. To which someone commented and goes, scroll all the way to the bottom. They're hidden. So she didn't turn off comments, but you can hide, I guess. I don't know anything. I don't get hated comments because I barely get comments, but you can hide the bad ones, but they just go to the bottom. So when someone clicks on it, it goes to like your middle.
It's like a folder that you have to basically go into.
Yeah, you have to go searching for them. And then,
oh wow, she did post something afterwards and said like, for everybody who's asking, I am doing well. I don't want her to like hate her life. No. You have to answer for the things you say.
I want her to look back and like stop, and we'll get into it. But all she did was deny. Like that's it. It was so frustrating, but whatever. Sorry, I had to share, but the comments were fucking brutal. Lindsay brought Steven. Okay. her timeline's fucked. Because Lindsay was focused on marriage, baby, engagement, everything. Steven was focused on sandwiches.
Work and sandwiches.
Listen up. Meredith, are you focused on engagement or sandwiches?
Sandwiches.
I'm also focused on sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Somebody today at a baby shower looked at me and my friend and said, I feel like you two are the next to get pregnant. And we were like, what gives you that vibe? What about us gives you that vibe?
I have no one to impregnate me.
Is it the binge drinking? Is it
because I love to eat? Listen, if you told me as a pregnant woman I could eat anytime, any day, anything,
dude, I just do that with my real life.
Do it.
I don't need to be pregnant to do that.
Sandwiches. So for most of COVID, it was just Lindsay and Steven, and Lindsay thought having the space in the summer house would help.
They couldn't make it for 17 days in quarantine. Why did you think this would help?
She thought with the yard.
Which, okay, that logic does make sense to me.
They should have gotten 2 rooms. They should have done 2 rooms. So Steven could have a workroom, ideally, right? He could have been like, I need a room to work in.
But that wasn't the problem, that he was like using the room.
You're right. I don't know. I think a little separation. He
wasn't doing quality time with her.
A little separation would have done them well.
Especially for the fights. I think like him having it like a page closet room would have really helped.
Yes. So, Danielle admits she knew this relationship was not going to end well. Kyle's really nice about it. He says when Lindsay commits, she goes head first, super hard. We've seen it with Everett. We saw it with Carl. We saw it with Steven.
Like foot on the gas, pedal to the metal.
She has no fear about diving straight into any relationship. Okay, so then Andy asks the golden question: did Lindsay feel bad about the birthday dinner? Because I felt bad about the dinner. She felt a little bit bad, but she says it was a hard day because Carl's brother passed away and Lindsay was just not checked in, and then Steven supposedly made the birthday dinner all about him, so that which I didn't get.
She said that Steven did not like check in on her.
Oh, that's right.
About like what was going on with Carl, which I do have to say, like, not saying she needs more sympathy than Carl, but like supporting your friends and going through that with your friends, you do need support too then.
Yes.
And if he did not check in on her once that day, that's really sad because she clearly is a girl who loves her birthday. So then she probably feels like she can't be happy either. Yeah. It's her birthday. Mm-hmm. And then all these sad things are happening. It's just like a lot going on.
Yeah. It is a lot. I still think that it was just a miscommunication with Steven. I don't think he was purposely trying to like make the birthday dinner.
Now looking Steven into like thinking about the Carl stuff, like that does I feel her so much more because she feels like she's not being supported in another way. If her birthday was removed from the Carl thing, I think this is a way overreaction, but it probably was just building.
Do you think Steven would have checked in more if it wasn't Lindsay's birthday?
No.
You don't?
No.
I think he
would, in theory, I think people are more on point on birthdays and things like that.
See, so, like, I think he
was at his best.
Guys are weird. Straight off the bat, if they have a surprise, they just cannot act fucking normal. So I think Steven was so focused on his surprise dinner for Lindsay.
A surprise dinner, like that you have to like keep hold of. Like that was pretty
he was like focused. Like, listen, my friend's gonna get engaged on Friday, and her boyfriend is so motherfucking weird. For 3 weeks, she knows. She figured it out on her own because this dude cannot act normal.
Yeah, but engagement is so different than a birthday dinner. Thing.
If you're planning something and you're a dude, you have a one-track mind.
I guess.
You just cannot.
And he probably thinks that is exactly what she wants. Focus on what she wants.
Like, I think in his mind, he's like, it's Lindsay's birthday. There's all this other stuff going on. I'm going to give her a spot where she can just like celebrate her.
Yeah.
Listen, I get it. Steven's wrong.
They're not compatible.
I freaking hate. No, these two are just a mess. This is worse than Hannah and Luke or whatever.
Honestly, it really is.
Oh, it's the worst.
It really is.
But on the plus side, Steven was aware of Lindsay's timeline. She showed him 6 months, and he agreed to it.
It was pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic. So then he's like, Andy says that Hannah's following Lindsay's timeline more than Lindsay is, and then asks Hannah for relationship advice to give like, Lindsay. Oh, and my jaw, God. I was like, I don't even know what Hannah wrote down, but I was like, Lindsay's pig, like her ass.
This was awkward. Even if like, because like Hannah and Lindsay used to be, I would say, pretty close like last season, but they started this season on the rocks, so it's not like they're super close. And like the age difference and the fact that like Lindsay wants this so bad and is truly up against the clock.
Yeah.
Why are we asking these questions? Like you're asking Lindsay to be pissed off.
Oh man, I was just like, thank you, Hannah, for your advice on finding
a man. I think it was like Hannah answered it really well. She said like, you know what, like you should not be sacrificing like how amazing you are. Like we know you're an amazing person and that's all you need to focus on.
You know what? Danielle comes through, our savior. Listen, super quick. Twitter loves Danielle. All-star of the
when
reunion.
She shows up, she's so great, but I feel like she's just like her personality seems to just like fall in the background. Like that just seems like her
she
type.
Doesn't want to get involved if she doesn't have to, but if she's got an opinion and
but she's not like a center of attention type person that not. Like it doesn't play well then on reality TV.
I would be the worst. Quickly. That's me. I would be the worst on reality TV because I would just be like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. Yeah. I'm just gonna watch. But Danielle says Lindsay needs someone who's confident and doesn't care how successful she is. Like Steven was cool, calm, and collected when like they first met, but now it's different. So like their personalities really don't mesh. Because it's true. Lindsay's activated, so she needs someone who's anti-activated so they can like merge and be normal.
I didn't like though that Danielle said like Steven bait and switched because listen, okay, Lindsay talked all season about like the helicopter rides and the dinners like they would do last summer. Yeah. And COVID is such a different thing that like that's not fair to compare that to what he used to do because it's so hard to do things like that. Now there are different ways you can show up in a relationship in COVID and that's something he needed to figure out. But I didn't like the comparison that like saying that like, he bait and switched her just because you're super trying to impress someone at the beginning that's not going to last.
I don't think it was a bait and switch, but I think, and this is true for us, like COVID amplified all my anxiety to a T for no reason. I wasn't even doing anything and I felt so much uneasy. And then like with the election and just like everything made me scared. So I think we all have smaller snapping points, which we do. I get in fights about everything now. Someone could be like, your hair sucks. And I'd be like, oh my God. Like I freaked out just cause like we don't have the outside
and like
world
I feel like this happened to me too is like my needs are heightened too because like my anxiety is heightened, my needs are heightened, so it's probably that like Lindsay's needs maybe were heightened
but Steven's calm.
couldn't fill them
like calm. He has his anxiety he has to deal with, so whatever, they're broken up, it's fine.
I really was hoping we were gonna get him, but we didn't even see him or Des on the like preview for next episode. No. I kind of wanted one of them.
Or Robert.
Yeah.
I just want Robert to come in and be like Andy be like, what are your 3 favorite dishes to eat? And he like Robert
it's like Top Chef.
What if you know how for Vanderpump reunions they bring out Shay for drinks?
Yes.
What if Robert brings out snacks?
Oh, a little grilled cheese shot with like tomato soup
would be great. Listen, I run into Robert. I'm gonna find out where this dude works and go there in New York. I can't wait. Okay. Sierra is like us, very single, watching all this relationship drama. She knows what she wants now from all her friends. She knows what she does not want. She needs someone emotionally available and mature. And she also has abandonment issues. So she needs someone who's not going to leave. And she needs to feel that love that Lindsay also needs. So that's good. I feel like Sierra's learned a lot. Paige, Amanda, and Hannah made that bet on how long Steven was going to stay in the house. We find out Paige actually won.
Yep, she nailed it.
Carl made a bet in his head, and it was just, will Steven leave this summer? And
also, we got this clip in the like previews for it that Lindsay got a lot mad for like obviously it's Steven working, and Lindsay does not think Steven was working the full time, which I feel like that was a big discussion for us about Steven working, and that's not fair. So if he wasn't working, I'm on Lindsay's side now. But Hannah makes the joke that she saw him playing Minecraft, and everybody was like, what? And she was like, I'm joking. But they played that so many times in the previews. I was like, all right, that's not cool.
I'm sure he wasn't working the whole time. Who works that much? I don't.
I mean, right now I work 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah, I take a good BuzzFeed minute though, don't you? Like a good.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm like taking breaks in between, but not enough to go like make Lindsay a sandwich.
Not enough to go make Lindsay a sandwich. Sandwich gate. So funny. He probably wasn't working the whole time. Maybe he was. I don't know. Who cares?
I don't think he was like stopping work at like 5 p.m. and pretending to work for like
no. I mean, I think when
3 hours.
That one time his boss called him, I think that was real. I think he had to go answer his boss.
I think he was like legit signed on and like working from these two, like from like 8 to 7 p.m. And yeah, it's like taking breaks in between, but I don't think he's like just sitting around at his desk to avoid
his computer
her.
During summer when you could be outside. No, I don't think so. We find out
just left the house.
Yeah, honestly. Lindsay was off birth control, so it made her more hormonal.
She said she was never on it though. So like they made a big thing about her getting off of it, but she was never on it.
They're doing the pull and pray, not to be confused with the spray and pray. Oh, God. I love it. Speaking of spray and pray, let's talk about Kyle and Amanda, our favorite couple of the summer. They usually have such a big place. Yeah, but not this summer. We love each other. We love mullets. Kyle kind of wanted to elope, but their parents would have killed them.
They said that they loved the practice wedding. It was so great. They talked about maybe doing it for real, but yeah, their parents were like, I would be pissed if my kids got married like that.
They might want to at least be there. Yeah. Carl's always supported them. He thinks Amanda made Kyle a better man. It's so cute. True. This love triangle is so cute. This love friendship triangle is so cute. How does Amanda feel about drunk Kyle getting into fights? Cue the montage. Summer should be fun. Because they have it in there. Summer should be fun. Amanda? Not fun. Amanda says she likes to pick her battles, which this is the great thing about Amanda. If it is not that important to her, she's not going to get involved.
Yes, I agree.
But Kyle's known to he's the party guy.
It's like a double-edged sword. I feel like a lot of times his frustration comes out when he's drinking, but he typically is such a fun-loving like guy who just like let loose, and she says that's what attracts people to him, is that he is that guy. But obviously everyone has a point when they're drinking where I feel like switches just flip. It's hard to always tell, and if he goes into a night I feel like frustrated, it's gonna come out.
Yeah, that's what Danielle says. If it's unresolved, it'll come out. But she also said that Kyle shoulders everyone's problems and issues, and he'll break the ice when he's drunk.
Yeah, he says he will not he will be happy to like say something that everybody wants to say.
Yeah. Okay. Hannah had some thoughts on Kyle and Amanda's relationship, which was hate, but Hannah actually denies being vocal about the relationship and has always supported it. And Kyle, this is when Kyle's like, we recorded the show, right? It's recorded. And Hannah's like, yeah, like she didn't get the
I don't think I think she's kind of very similar to Luke in this. I don't think she understands what she says and how it comes across and the ramifications for it.
I think Hannah makes jokes, and in her head, jokes are just funny for TV. But the thing she doesn't understand is when you talk about other people, jokes aren't funny.
It hurts.
Like it can hurt because people are going to watch it. It's not like I'm talking about my friends to you and they'll never know what I say. And if I make a joke, it's fine. And
like I'm their joking, families see so this stuff.
Yeah. But like, this is literally on public, like out in
it's real life. It's not a scripted show. This is real life.
And this is when Hannah is like, Amanda, have I ever told you to leave Kyle? And Amanda's like, not in those words. And this is where Lindsay comes in. And she's like, not along those lines, but
so many things happening over here.
Go arrest Hannah. Oh my God. So Lindsay's like, you've said it, but not in so many words. And Danielle says that Hannah hasn't been there for Amanda at all. And listen, because I'm a big Amanda stan. I love that Lindsay and Danielle go to Amanda's defense.
Yes.
because I think they're just at this point, Kyle is such their close friend that like Amanda is also such their close, like,
and you can tell when things are right and when things are wrong, and they know in this situation, like they're not gonna like, we're not doing this. You're
not gonna trash my friend's relationship. You're not gonna do it.
Just even like not even the friend part of it. You're not gonna be able to just talk all this shit in your interviews and then just be like, oh, what? You know?
Honestly, also
they are a lot. It is a lot, I feel like, and I feel like Hannah does tear up here because she is like, there's a lot coming at her, and it's from like 3 different points of a room that I feel like she probably does feel flustered. And she does get really emotional. So I do kind of feel slightly bad, but not enough to like stop this discussion. And everyone is like, she just has crocodile tears, which I think she does kind of weaponize her emotions a little bit.
Oh my God, we'll get there. When her ass fake cry, I have to say fake cry.
I think it's real. I think it is real because I think when there's a lot going on, a lot of your emotions do come out as tears.
I think some of it, her emotions are real, but I think that at one point, and we'll get there were so many fake I was like, I don't believe it, but it's fine. But this is it's my favorite. So they're like, no, but Hannah, you're not a good friend, blah, blah, blah. And Hannah goes, me? I've supported this relationship the whole time. And I'm like, who, me? Hannah? Hannah has never.
Me? I
love people that are recorded and they get called out, and then it's like, I've never. Not me.
I am such a good friend. I'm so supportive. And they're like,
I do not understand.
How?
I am alive. That is me supporting you.
I feel like a lot of people in the real world do this too. They're like, I'm on your side. And you're like, how? You are not on my side.
And so thank you, but also, I don't get it. So let's talk about the chores fight. My favorite one, it's the cup for me, dog. That's the funniest part of this whole thing. But Hannah felt really shook and decided if Kyle swore at her, she was going to tell him to stop. Which she didn't. She just freaked out.
Okay, first off, if he swears at you, that's the line? Are you serious? That's the line.
Is this where everyone's like, yeah. This is when Amanda is like, Hannah freaks out when the guys talk to her like that, but she can talk to everyone else in this house like that and not have any kind of ramifications for it.
Yeah.
Which I agree.
Yeah, because they literally then roll the tapes of Amanda coming at her very calm about the throwing the cup in the comments.
What you said was fucked up, or what
and
happened
Hannah
was fucked up.
Screams at her, and Amanda was even had given her apology. You know, like
you threw a drink at me, bitch.
I feel like it's a tricky society now these days because we are very like equality, you know, like women and men are the same. There is a slight difference between a man like screaming at you than a woman screaming at you, but if you can't dish it, or like if you can't take it, you can't dish it.
No. You can't there's nothing I hate more than when I sarcastically like will joke with someone and kind of like roast them a little bit, and then they get fucking mad, but they're allowed to fucking roast me. There's no way. No, get out. Yes. You can't come at me.
You can't. And the thing is, it's not like the problem is it was the exact same like fight back-to-back days, and that's what bothers me. It's not like months later then Hannah got heated and something happened. It was Hannah is so up in arms that Kyle screams at her and like takes that on and says it like reminds her of her dad screaming at her, which I think is very true, but that does not then give you the right to just get a hall pass for screaming at other people. Then you need to own up and be like, you know what, that is fucked up. That is hypocritical. Own your shit. It's okay to fuck up. It's totally fine. Everybody, like, we're human. But the fact that like you can't own your shit is my problem with Hannah.
I agree. It's so frustrating when it's like on TV and Hannah is still like, I didn't do that. And it's like, no, we watched it. And
that's the thing.
I feel like look back.
Normal people can get away with that shit because you don't roll the tapes. People do have different memories, but like,
the most beautiful thing about Lindsay is she owns her shit, and she's like, I was a mess. I was crazy. I probably shouldn't have treated. I feel a little bad about the dinner.
She even said like, I shouldn't have yelled at Steven that much.
Yelled at him. Mm-hmm. That Carl, I probably shouldn't have gotten that drunk. Kyle, I probably shouldn't have yelled. Him and Luke made up in a 24-hour period because they felt so bad. But Hannah just can't be like, I'm sorry. She has to be like, no, this is why you did this. Because even Hannah's like, well, you threw a drink at me, Amanda. And Amanda literally goes, do you know why I threw a drink at you? Because you said horrible things about me. Mm-hmm. And Andy even goes, that's a good point. Like, Hannah, do you know, like, do you understand?
Are you hearing this? Yeah. Like, are you? Yeah.
And then Luke had given Hannah advice in the summer house to stay calm when Kyle yells. I guess they were friends at the time. But Kyle, like, then Hannah pulls up, like, when Kyle yelled at Luke, then Luke freaked out and there was a whole fight. I think that was a lot of like alcohol driven, and also they were both already heated when I don't know. But they owned it. Like, both those dudes then owned. We lost our cool.
I shouldn't have yelled at you.
It wasn't great. They met outside. They talked calmly. They put it behind them, and now they're fine. When Kyle tried to do this with Hannah, and again, I think her trauma with her dad's real, but Hannah brought her dad up, and Kyle said, "I'm not your dad, though." Yes. And then she said, "Fuck you for bringing up my dad." And
which she says when Kyle yells at me and he goes, I stayed very calm. He was very calm in that conversation because I think he understood that his yelling triggered her. So I think he was really trying and working hard on not raising his voice.
Yes. To me, in that conversation, Hannah just wanted to
exit,
not be there. So she freaked out that Kyle brought up her dad, which like wasn't even true, and like whatever. But then this is where Hannah starts crying because Kyle is getting kind of heated at this point because Hannah is like, I don't understand what's happening. I've done nothing wrong. It's not me. So Kyle's like, you need to take responsibility. And he's not yelling, but he's kind of talking very like
getting heated.
Firmly. He's talking firmly. He's heated. And so he
really does not yell that loud. I do have to say in their arguments, he does raise his voice, but it's not like he's like yelling.
He's a 40-year-old man. He doesn't know how to yell. When I'm 40, I hope to never yell.
I know how to fucking yell. My family yells.
I can't.
I'm sorry, that is not yelling. The like Luke screaming, "I don't like you," is like somewhat getting into the yelling, but still not really there.
I don't like you. That's even further.
Hannah, you want to see some yelling? I can show you some fucking yelling.
No. But this is where, because again, Kyle's kind of heated. Hannah starts to cry. She's like, I'm sorry, him yelling at me is so triggering. And this was the crocodile tear that I was like, I want to believe it. I don't believe it. I can't. And no one believes it because we got faking the tears. Acting school is now in session. Like, shut up, Hannah.
Okay, I think her tears are real, but she is then manipulating her tears to stop people from coming at her.
To me,
I'm a big crier, but I'm just going to cry and I'm going to be like, hey, I'm sorry. And if you're going to yell at me and I'm crying, you know what? We're just going to have to deal with this.
I also cry in stressful situations. I think where Hannah went wrong was, Kyle yelled and then it hit her. And then she was like, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. She, because if it's me,
the comment for me.
I've been crying.
Just crying. Yep.
I would have been crying while we
and I would have been like, I'm sorry, keep going, you know?
Yeah, I would have been crying for the past half hour, right? But no, it was immediate. And then 2, the fact that she can't even be like, sorry, I'm crying, like, let me compose to respond. She literally goes, Kyle is still yelling at me to trigger me? Like, it's Kyle's fault again. And I was like, no.
Yeah. But again, she can then yell at people later.
Yes. I think her trauma is real. I think she needs to go deal with it, but everyone
you don't get to use that as an excuse to do
everyone that yells at you, you can't then pull like, you're triggering my trauma. You have to learn to deal. Your responsibility is to kind of deal with your trauma, right?
Okay, I mean, here's the thing. The way she needs to deal with this is to then say like, can we please talk more calmly? Like it is triggering for me. Like that is how
it's not your fault. Yeah, you gotta be like, it's not your fault. But she's
triggering. Avoiding then the conversation and like shutting down the conversation.
Yeah, she doesn't want to talk about her family. But then it's like, well,
it's like she's not willing to have the conversation then calmly.
Yeah, but then this is where she's kind of crying and she's like, I didn't have the hatred everyone thought I did. I just want what's best for Kyle and Amanda. And this is where Lindsay should have been like, no, you don't. That's false. You don't wish that.
No, you don't. But Kyle here then talks about how Hannah has all these buzzwords for every single guy.
Oh my God.
And Danielle goes hard here. She's like, listen,
I feel this. I
this toxic masculinity buzzword and like all these things that you say about all these guys is not cool.
Yes. Yes. So Hannah always keeps doing that. She's like, he's using his toxic masculinity, blah, 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 like whatever. I personally have never found Kyle toxic masculinity. I think he thinks he's the number one dude in the group, and he
I think
enjoys
he's kind
that.
of a douche.
Yeah, he's kind of a douche. But to me, toxic masculinity is I am better than you because I have a penis.
Yes.
I'm more qualified because I have a penis. So I will put you down solely because you're a girl. But Kyle, he doesn't mean to put, and I mean, he's yelled at a lot of girls, but he doesn't put them down. He just kind of like puts them in their place wrongly.
Yes.
Like he yells to put them in their place when he's drunk.
I think it's a hierarchical thing, and it has nothing to do with male female. I think he looks at it as an age thing, how long he's been on this show, and things like that. And so there's a lot of younger women, and then also they're new cast members, and so like he wants to be in charge. And then a lot of times when he's drinking, his frustrations then come out in yelling, and like raising his voice a little bit, and like like you said, like putting in people in the place he wants for them. Like he wanted Hannah, Paige, and Sierra to like clean up.
Yes. This comes, and I get that. Like and we saw it. Those three never did fucking anything.
Yeah.
And I'd be pissed if I was Kyle or Lindsay or Danielle. I'd be like, the fuck, these girls are the ones making the mess because they're younger and they blah, blah, blah. And they don't help clean up. And that's really frustrating. I just, to me, it's very frustrating that she uses these buzzwords because these are real things that like women have to go through.
Yes, but someone yelling at you and communicating things, and like Kyle's wrong for how he's communicating it.
Yes,
but what he's trying to tell you is right.
Yes, and I think because Danielle says Hannah uses her feminism to kind of manipulate the situation, which I also don't like. As a feminist by definition, or feminism by definition, is men and women should be equal, like just equal people. So Hannah's doing this thing where she's like,
it's like,
well, I'm a girl
as a victim card, like,
and you're putting me down as a girl, and like you shouldn't be doing that as a man. And it's like, dude, if you can yell at him, he can yell at you, and that's the equality of it.
Yeah,
but also,
and it doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right either way. But like,
for me, toxic masculinity is more like the message, not the form of communication. I feel like Kyle has a lot of abrasive communication styles. Yeah, and that's I think really hard for people. Yeah.
But if Kyle was really a toxic male, you'd see it with Amanda. You would see him being like, Amanda, don't lift that box. You're going to hurt yourself. Or like, oh, Amanda, like keep quiet at the lover boy table because you don't have anything. But no, he gives Amanda free range. He's never said anything to Danielle. He's never said anything to Lindsay. Look at his relationship with Lindsay.
Yeah.
Him and Lindsay scream at each other all the time. And it's like fucking fine. I appreciate, though, Danielle saying that Hannah says this about all men all the time, which is a problem. And Hannah is the instigator, and she's the most toxic person in the house.
Yes.
Which I think Hannah
and she doesn't just like then say that like that. She does say those broad things, but then she gives detailed examples. And that's when Hannah freaks out again. And Andy's like, listen, this is constructive criticism. You need to hear an example so you understand what they're talking about.
Oh my God.
You're not getting it.
When Hannah freaks out and Andy literally just looks at her and goes, she's giving you constructive criticism, I almost lost it. I was like, Andy's literally sitting here like, Hannah, just shut up. Like,
He's like, Hannah, like, you're freaking out saying that these things didn't happen, but when they're telling you clear-cut examples of them happening, then you're not listening.
Yeah, and this is
out and blame it on other people.
Danielle goes off.
I feel like this reunion was so productive because Annie kept making people give examples.
Yes, and I mean, listen, Danielle is nothing but a feminist. We have seen it. She says she's worked with men and she's really had to learn, and she stands up for women and she loves being the only woman and like blah blah blah. She says Hannah has created things that happen that weren't actually happening. Danielle does not appreciate or like it, and says Hannah has not been a good friend to Amanda, which Kyle agrees that Hannah kicks Amanda to the curb, and that's the beef he has with Hannah. That's like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care if Hannah's a good friend to him, but when you're going to use Amanda and then get pissed at her for not being a bridesmaid or not being invited to the wedding, like, no, you can't do that shit.
Which then Hannah follows it up with like, Kyle has to stop villainizing me when I've done nothing to him. And everybody's like, that's the shit you can't say. Like the villainize.
He's not
like,
villainizing you. He's
calling
he's
you
giving
out.
you an example. He's calling you out on shit you did. And either you own it or you don't. But then like get out of our lives if you're not going to own it.
You have to answer for things. We're not villainizing you. You did this to yourself. You said this shit.
As soon as Hannah said, like, Kyle's villainizing me, Danielle and
everyone freaked out.
Danielle and Carl, we got that shot. And even Carl, the nicest man in the world, is like, oh my God.
Say that.
Stop.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Because you said you were talking about feminism. Feminism is not calling women out just because.
Yes, call me out.
Like, if you did something wrong, you deserve to be called out no matter who you are. That's what feminism is.
Treat me equally. Please don't grab my ass or my boobs just because I have them.
But in the same thing, it's like you shouldn't do that to men either.
I don't want to grab. Yes, we're gonna keep our hands to ourselves.
About respect,
bubbles. I'm not gonna make you feel uncomfortable. You don't make me feel uncomfortable. Like, and for years, women have not made men feel uncomfortable, but men have made women feel uncomfortable. So now we're just like trying to backtrack it. Like, hey, man.
Or well, like there are women who make
there totally are women, but
it is a greater problem
in the broader sense. Or like women make less than men. I'm sure some women do make more than men, but a broader sense. Like Jesus Christ, Hannah, villainizing you is not anti-feminism. You're maybe just the villain. Maybe,
but no, she's not being villainized. That's the problem. Is she uses these buzzwords to then attack everyone else
and make
when it's like nobody's villainizing you. We're literally just calling out the shit you've been doing for the 6 weeks we were filming and then when we were doing interviews.
So then let's hit another punch. Kyle says that there were fights during the summer, but Hannah and Kyle ended at a good place.
Mm-hmm.
But for the past 3 months, Hannah has spent it talking shit on podcasts. Because Hannah did an interview where she said she's only friends with Kyle because she's paid to be.
Yep.
Which is fine, but then don't expect like a friendship outside.
Then you're not going to their wedding. Like, then we're not real people friends.
And Hannah said like there were arguments that weren't seen, and Kyle apparently said everything in Hannah's career was because of Kyle, which like I want to say.
She was saying that. So then she was saying, well, Kyle made a quote in a newspaper or like a magazine or something that
everything Hannah had was because of Kyle.
Which Hannah is now trying to change up the timeline that Kyle said that comment first and then Hannah's came. But Hannah made her comment first and Kyle's
2019,
Kyle's was a reaction to hers. So she will only quote his. And Amanda kept saying like, you're taking it out of context. His was as a response to your comment. He did not say that first.
She's claiming there were all these other arguments, blah, 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 in the house. If it was a good argument, the producers would have put it on. Let's start there. I believe there were other arguments, but I don't think they were significant because we would have seen it.
I think it was like rubbing each other the long way, a little blow up, and then we all moved on.
2, Carl even said that's not true. There weren't all like, Kyle didn't, he said that's not true in the timeline spectrum of like whatever. But can we really quick talk about this? Kind of most things Hannah has in her career is somewhat because of Kyle, because if it wasn't for Kyle, Lindsay, and Carl doing this for the past 5 years, there would be no Summer House. And Amanda,
but he does not get to take ownership of her career.
Never. But and I mean, I know it was in response. I'm sure he meant it like super shittily, but Amanda Amanda's the one that brought Hannah in. And without Amanda or without Kyle, there's no Amanda. And without Amanda,
I don't think it was Amanda.
Yeah. She was friends with Jordan, Hannah, and Paige.
Oh.
Or maybe just Jordan and Hannah, but then Paige got looped in too. Because Amanda was happy that
it's one of those things that you have to like respect the people who came before you. And she owes them respect. But they're not
responsible. But I think it's that thing again where he's a veteran. He's been here a bunch. He just wants everyone to clean and like own their part. But Hannah, Paige, and Sierra, by not cleaning, have kind of like disrespected the Summer House rule of like, we're all going to pitch in and like do our own thing and blah, blah, blah. So I think Kyle's frustrated on that. And I think he heard her joke of like, I'm only friends with Kyle because I'm paid to be. So he was like, you know what? That's fine. But everything she gets because me.
And the thing is, I bet in a sense, she went on this podcast, said that comment. He probably
I bet it was a joke. I bet it was a
joke. I bet it was a joke on her side, but
it's not funny.
He heard it through the podcast, and then there was no response from Hannah probably on the back end to Kyle to be like, listen, I'm sorry, that was a joke. Like, I did not mean it. Like, I do care about you. It's more than just that.
Yeah.
But none of that would ever have happened. So then it's like Kyle has to give a snooty remark to like save face in the press.
Yeah. And I think Kyle waited a long time to even respond to that comment after this summer, like during this summer of some time, because Hannah's comment was 2019. Like Kyle could have come out and said some shitty ass thing otherwise. But I think the issue is, and Paige says it, Hannah remembers everything and holds grudges, and Kyle lets everything go. Yeah. So when Hannah keeps bringing up old shit, Kyle's eventually going to snap and be like, well, fuck you then. Like, yeah, you're welcome for giving you a career.
Too much has piled up, and I agree. I think too much has piled up without it actually getting a clean slate, because I don't think Hannah can let go of this stuff.
Yeah. And then this is where Hannah, because she's kind of delusional, she's like, Amanda and I are in a good place. And Amanda's like, you had sex in my bathroom and said we weren't friends multiple times.
Yeah.
What good space. Because I guess like 2 days ago, Hannah was talking shit on another podcast, to which Hannah's like, I'm a podcaster. It's what I do. And it's
they're all like, you need to own up for all the things you're talking off camera, because you're saying shit a lot. We all ended in a good spot. I would say they all ended in a really good place
spot,
at the end of the season. But what you're hearing coming out in all these podcasts, it doesn't mesh with like how they ended. So they're all confused. And Carl really wants Hannah to just stand up and be honest about the things she's saying about them. And it is really hurtful to them.
He makes a good point that like, you're making jokes, you're making memes, and that's all great, but it's at the expense of us. Like there are real people on the back end of your memes. And then Carl brings up like what she said is hurtful, and it's really fucked up what she said about Carl. And Hannah's like, me? What did I say? Me? Well, by golly gee.
What did I say?
Little me. And Hannah said that supposedly Carl had a drug problem on a podcast. And Hannah's like, no, I didn't. And this is where Kyle gets really mad. I guess it was a joke of like, oh yeah, like how does everyone drink so much?
I listened to this. It was Danny Pellegrino's podcast, and Hannah was saying after her first season that Danny was saying like, I don't understand how you guys like do this all day and then all night. Yeah. This is a lot. And she was like, yeah, no, like it is. It's like it's a lot to do it. Because Danny was saying, like, I usually go out one night and then I feel like I'm exhausted. And, you know, most people like will stay in one of the nights. You don't day drink all day and go out at night. You know, like, there's a balance. And she was like, no, yeah, like, there's some help, like, people have to have. And he's like, what? And she's like, a lot of people in the house will, like, do Adderall to, like, manage the constant. And she's like, yeah, I mean, like, Carl, like, you know, like, some people, like, snort Adderall, like
ask Carl or something.
Yeah, I've seen like Carl do it, and like she like I think said Carl and Kyle or something, and basically alluded to like it was like a constant thing.
And listen, Adderall is like, it's fine. I mean, we've all taken
it's not like Adderall, she was like claiming they're doing like cocaine in the bathroom
or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's still not cool to make those assumptions, because these are other public figures.
And like, they have real jobs.
They have real jobs, real families. Like, listen, if I went upstairs right now and someone told my mom that I was constantly snorting Adderall, she'd be sad. Like, my family's that has to watch this. Like, my jobs are at the expense.
And again, I think that podcast was in 2019. So
it has been a minute. I went searching for it. But yeah, so this is when Hannah again is like, it was a joke. And Paige is like, Hannah did shitty things, but she's not a bad person. But then I'm like, but she's a bad person to these people. Yeah, like, she's not treating them like, she might be your bestest friend and be like the greatest.
And you know
person.
What? I truly do think everyone does have a good heart at the end of the day. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you're being like a good person, to those people.
Like, let's say, everyone has like a great heart, but if you're gonna constantly talk shit about me and put me on blast and like not take responsibility and blah blah, you're a good person to everyone else, but to me, in my eyes, you're not a good person. Mm-hmm. So, and this is where Andy asks Amanda or Kyle about the things.
For any other examples.
What things Hannah has said. What examples can we talk about? And we don't really get another example on the show, but it's just like Hannah's talking shit, and Hannah's always like, it's career related. I'm a podcaster.
Well, Kyle says he doesn't want to just keep bringing things up. He wants to move forward and just be level headed and like enjoy the time spending with friends. Like they really talk about the reason this started was because friends rented a summer house. And we love hanging out with each other. And if you don't like hanging out with us, that's fine. You don't have to. But the premise of this show is that we are friends.
Yes. And if you're not going to be a friend, you can't be in the house. I guess too, Hannah calls Kyle misogynistic all the time.
Yes.
Like everything he says is misogynistic. And I thought about it and I was like, again, I don't think misogynistic is another buzzword where it's like men who think they're greater than women and belittle them and make comments. And I don't think Kyle, at least from what I've seen, and like,
listen, I'm sure he has made comments that are misogynistic. I feel like
I've made comments that are misogynistic.
Millions of comments I shouldn't have about men, women, like you just kind of say
girls,
things.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And you're not your best self all the time, but I don't think he's a like true misogynist that she makes him out to be.
No. But yeah, and then at the end of the day, Kyle doesn't think that Hannah owes her career to him. He just said it in the heat of a moment, and he admits that.
Yep.
And for the sake of the house, Kyle wants to move forward because he's getting paid, but this is his life. Like, these are his friends. This is what he does. This is
he wants to enjoy it, and he especially loves this. This is the embodiment of Kyle.
You know what? I bet Bravo pitched this and everyone was like, maybe because like if someone came up to you and was like, you want to be on TV, you really got to think about the ramifications. And I bet you it was Kyle that's like, guys, this is the
summer is fun.
Summer is fun.
Yeah.
So was the apology genuine? Hannah thinks like Kyle's apology was genuine, and obviously she thinks her apology was genuine, but the situation was so toxic and she apologized, and she knows that the Kyle issue is that Kyle wanted to feel good about himself. And
she's like, it wasn't about the trash. It wasn't about the comment I made about his relationship. It was about his ego. And
Amanda comes up. She's like, that's so fucked up. And Danielle's like,
she just makes digs. Like when people
shut up. She just can't just be like, I think the apology was genuine.
She deflects. Listen, this was your apology genuine? And she basically turned it and was like, I just had to make an apology because our fight was about his ego. Like, she's turning it. She couldn't just say no, I really did mean what I was saying.
She can't fake it. She can't just be like, yes, I apologized to him. I took his apology. It was fine. We moved on. She had to take a dig.
She has to take a dig.
She had to. And Kyle,
I don't even think she notices it. That's the problem with people like that. Is like, she's not like, it's kind of easier when people are intentionally taking digs. It's usually because they're hurt and that, like they're lashing out. But like, I think this is literally just how Hannah is. And Jax Taylor is the same way.
It's like, I was like, watching this, I was like, this is a Vanderpump Rules reunion, but instead of Jax, we have Hannah.
It's like, of course my apology was genuine, but our fight wasn't about my dad, the trash, like his relationship. It was about his goddamn ego.
And then I think in response, Kyle's like, whatever, I just took her apology and apologized because I never want to hear from her again. Yeah, like, bye. And Amanda, this is when Amanda comes through saying that Hannah denies saying anything, but then she says shit like that and won't take responsibility for it. And Lindsay, we're gonna break the fourth wall, which we're gonna do next episode too. This is where Lindsay's like, the show started as friends. If Hannah's not a friend with the main dude, you got to get out, because this, at the end of the day, it is who Kyle, Carl, and Lindsay are kind of friends with, right? Those, I think, as a producer, if I'm a producer on Bravo, these are my solid castmates that I'm
Well,
gonna
I would
go
say
to.
you probably have to be friends with at least 2 of the 3, or at least 1. Like, she cannot claim any one of those as friends.
I'm somehow impressed. I'm impressed that Luke was able to bring someone, but I think the producers were like, "This will be good with Hannah." I'm like, let's fucking figure that out. But like, Danielle, and you know what? I think Lindsay and Carl.
I think they cast a really wide net for this season, because think about how many people were involved between all those significant others coming in and out, because that will guarantee there's some type of drama.
That's true. But like, if you think about it, Danielle came in, but she had dated Carl and she was friends with Lindsay, I think. And then like Amanda came in, but she was dating Kyle. So then she brought in Hannah and Jordan, who brought in Pitt. Like, there's a whole thing, but it all kind of comes back to Kyle, Carl, and Lindsay. Though that's like your solid 3.
They're the foundation of the show.
They are. And as a producer, if I've worked on this show for 5 years, those are my 3 main castmates that I'm going to go to if I need someone new or I like need to talk to someone. Like, that's the friendship. But yeah, Kyle calls Hannah next level mean. Amanda says that, like, you know, Hannah shows no remorse. And this is when Hannah's like, "You've all said shit about me."
Which,
and
like, Kyle's you're deflecting. It's not about what other people have said about you. We can talk about that, but you need to focus on what you are saying.
Yeah, just shut up, Hannah. And so Kyle then is like, "Actually, I deny interviews because I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk about you." And Kyle just is so heated. I think he does the right thing. And he leaves. He like excuses himself because he doesn't want to trigger anyone, I'm sure. And then this is when Amanda is just yelling at Hannah, like, "You're so fucked up. Fuck you." Like,
you're so
and then it
mean.
ends. And then it ends. And this Paige like yells after Kyle and is like, "You can't just walk away." But I think that's smart. I think
that's the problem though, is like he gets yelled at if he walks away. He gets yelled at if he's going to yell at her. He gets yelled at when he talks calmly. Like,
half of
that's the problem. Is it's always Kyle's fault in the
Hannah world.
Kyle fight. It is always Kyle's fault. No matter what he does, he's doing something wrong, and it triggers her, or like this and that, or he did this. It's never like, "Hey, I fucked up, and you also did this." Like, it's okay to point other people's shit out, but you got to own yours too.
Half this cast is also over 30, and listen, you and I, let's just say we are 26, but we know our limits. We've dealt with enough that we understand like kind of what to do in situations where we get mad. I have learned that walking away saves a friendship, or maybe will save me from saying something that I then have to answer for in the future. I think walking away is the greatest thing you can do when you're heated. Just take a minute, man.
I think it's a great option as long as you're not avoiding. My therapist and I have talked about that. If you're avoiding things, then that's not okay. If you are like making sure
I'm heated, I say things I regret. I know that. Like, I think this would have been really productive if Hannah had just like, "Can I have a minute?" No, actually, she's gonna deny. I can't.
I've said this a lot. I think on Vanderpump specifically, that like in any argument or like frustration in a relationship, and a relationship is between 2 people. So here it is, Kyle and Hannah. There is always fault on both parties. Now, a percentage of the fault can change, but like there is no way a fight happens and one person did nothing wrong.
Yeah, agreed.
There's absolutely no way. So I always go into things and think like, well, what did I do here? Like, how could I have done something differently? Because you should always, in a sense, be improving yourself. But there's no way you were getting out of arguments unscathed and doing nothing wrong. So like, you always need to bring something to apologize probably to the table. For whether it's how you reacted, the words you said, not doing something, you know, like there's always something that like I think people need to take ownership for. And it really bothers me when people don't take their part.
This is just a mess. Hannah's sitting here the whole reunion. I don't know what I did. Poor little me, I'm being attacked. And she says shit along the lines of like, his ego is here, or you've all said shit about me. Just shut up for 2 seconds.
Or like, I can't, like,
you know that moment when you're like, should I say this? 99 times out of 100 the answer is
it's a no. Yeah,
don't. And I wonder if Hannah has that little voice that's like, should I say that they're all talking shit about me? Or should, like, does she just blurt?
And the no never comes.
The no never comes. She's like, this is a good idea. Well, Next time, we talk about hand jobs and Paige navigating her two best friends and Lindsay wanting options and finding out if Luke and Lindsay hooked up and Danielle and Paige getting into a fight. Fuck you, Danielle.
I can't wait for
Fuck
that.
you, Danielle.
I think Lindsay like comes at Paige and like Danielle gets involved.
Says something.
And that's why Paige says, fuck you, Danielle. Because she says, I wasn't talking to you, Danielle. And
what I think happens.
Like, well, I'm talking to you.
I think it that was awesome. That was awesome. I think what happens from what I can tell is Paige makes a comment about Lindsay and Luke definitely hooking up and there's no question about it and blah, blah, blah. And Danielle saying that's so fucked up because you're dealing with their livelihood now. Like you're spreading a rumor around that maybe didn't happen. Like you got to shut up. And then Paige be like, I'm not even talking to you, Danielle. And then Danielle coming at, I'm talking to you.
Fuck you, Danielle. You. I love that. The whole look, fuck the handout. That's the reunion drama I love because like when they move on from this, they're not going to be like, pissed about that.
And also it's just the funniest meme later on.
Fuck you, Danielle.
For everything. We get Kyle and Carl's bromance and we relive Hannah being a bitch and like the Amanda Hannah friendship that does not exist. And then Luke brings up something that breaks the fourth wall again, which makes Hannah leave.
Okay, can I give you a prediction about this?
Yes.
I think there's something he's going to say that like production asked him to do something or like somehow production got involved and told him to do something with him and Hannah's relationship either this past season, the season before. And she's like, that's fucked up. And I think that is going to be fucked up if that's true.
What if he's like, production actually made me eat you out for 3 hours?
Okay,
I'm just kidding.
That's
that
not
level.
It, but so if it was like production told me to call you every day leading up to filming or, you know, like
that would be fucked up because now you're playing with people's emotions.
And it's like you let production like fuck with me and you signed up to do that.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I have like no idea.
She walks away and she's like, that really messes with someone.
Yeah.
Like she basically says something like that and is crying. And like that would really, that will piss me off.
That will,
something like that.
That'll mess me up too. Damn. Oh my God. Like, oh my God. I can't.
I love that Bravo breaks the fourth wall so much more now.
I absolutely
everybody go watch.
Okay.
Housewives of Beverly Hills last season, not the one that's about to air because they crushed that. Bravo, fucking bravo.
I like when we break fourth walls. I think it's funny. I think it works. Obviously, you can't do it in certain
Teen
situations.
Mom does it so well now. It's just a part of it.
Teen Mom, though, it's just like we ask questions and get our answers. This would be hard to completely break the fourth wall like they did on Teen Mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, we can't. They don't. But I do like sometimes seeing production and like production lives downstairs. And it's like, yes, I get it. Okay, quickly, Jackie says, oh my God, so obvious everyone watched this and saw how horribly bad Luke was treated and how horribly bad Hannah acted. Also, obvious Kyle is trying to get Hannah out of the house, but he doesn't want to be the one to suggest it. So Lindsay does.
Here's the thing. Okay. It does not negate Luke's behavior. It just puts more ownership on what Hannah has been doing too. Yeah. I want to get that clear because what Luke was doing was not cool either.
It's also fucked up. Yeah. But Jackie's right. Lindsay was the one that said, like, this is a show about friends. And if you're not a friend, you can't be on the show.
Get the fuck out of here.
Hannah was so prepared for this. Her answers seemed so thought out and carefully delivered. I am super sure she prepped.
Look at the way she was even sitting. Her body language was like she was like truly being interrogated by like police. Like she was very upright, very forward.
If I knew I was walking into a place and I really only had Paige and maybe Sierra, I would fucking prepare too. Like, you were 90% of the drama on this season. It's sad
that was her preparation.
Yeah. Oh, that was awful. Well, you know what it was? It was probably like she thought out all these answers and she was going to come in and make them look stupid. But then it didn't go the way she planned. So she just had to slide in like, by the way, you're talking shit on me too. And it's like, no. That's why you can't prep too hard. Like, it doesn't.
It's bullet points. It's like things you want to make sure you tell people. Bullet points, not full sentences.
Also, Paige and Sierra are holding strong Team Hannah while Danielle has put a stick in the sand and is super ready to call Hannah out.
Here's the thing. I think they're being supportive friends, and I think they're being really good friends. And Paige does say in this episode, like, I'm her friend. I'm not her mom. I'm not here to tell her everything she does wrong. And I think because being a good friend doesn't mean just because your friend is right or wrong, you're on their side. It means being supportive. And I think they're doing a really good job about being supportive. And that's the friends I would want.
I think they're doing a good job about being supportive. But if I was Hannah, I would want my friend to just be like, hey, just shut up. Because Hannah, in the end, is making herself look worse to the public.
But I hate, like, Paige can't do that.
I would want,
because then it like goes against her other friends.
This might make me a bad friend, but I would have been like, hey, just like, it's okay. Just, I got your back. Just, I'll do it. Just don't.
That's hard to do on, like, you're on a reality
show. It's hard. But I would have been like, you guys shut up, dude. They have a brand together. You guys shut up. Just shut the fuck up. Okay. Sorry. Jackie finishes off and said, I want to feel bad for Hannah, but it's hard because I've heard what she said on podcasts and she needs to answer from it. The denial, and I don't remember, won't work. Accountability will.
These are all recorded. So if you don't remember, then you need to go find the receipts for yourself. The receipts. And you need to follow up. Like, she needs to take action then after this and follow up with those people and go listen to all these podcasts she's been on.
Listen, I don't like when people are ganged up on. And I said that when Luke was ganged up on this season, I really felt for Luke. I was rooting for him. I don't like it, but you can't just
say
not
things
take
without
responsibility.
Yeah.
The reunion was insane. Best episode of the season. Prediction now. Luke drops a bomb that implicates Hannah cheated on Des, and that's why she loses her shit.
I don't think so, because he talks about breaking the fourth wall. That I think it has to do with production.
I literally know nothing about this. I am so nervous for it.
Maybe she hooked up with somebody in production.
It
has to do with production, or they wouldn't talk about breaking the fourth wall. So it either has to do with, but even before and after the show, they talk about openly without even having to say, like, break the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall is when you talk about things that production is either talking to you about or the way things happen. So, like, you lose the essence that it's just, like, a reality show.
Yeah, I agree. Something in production. I hope she hooked up with someone in production. That'd be the fucking funniest
I think production got involved with Luke somehow about doing something, or like, maybe it was about, like, bringing Sierra. Like, they wanted to fuck with Hannah by bringing Sierra. And he's, like, outing them because he's tired of taking the blame for something that he can't take the blame, or he had to take the blame for in front of the camera.
Yeah. Wow. This is exciting. This is the best Bravo reunion I've seen in a long time.
It actually got to shit we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I hate when it's like,
things get swept under the rug.
I'm sorry. The end. Like, let's fucking talk about it. And Andy's really good. But usually Andy kind of has to hold hands more, especially with the housewives, ask all these questions and really dig in.
Because they have, like, bigger egos. I feel like these people like are really in check with what the fuck's going on.
Andy would be like, so about the apology, and it would just go from apology to this, to that, to we brought up podcasts, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
well, a lot of this stuff is being talked about then after the show, whereas, like, I feel like housewives don't do as many podcasts, but Hannah is staying strong in everything she's doing. She's on the same line. She's not backtracking.
I straight up forgot Andy was here for most of the reunion. That's how great.
And the way they were sitting, it kind of felt because, like, they were all separated a little bit more, that, like, he was one of them.
Yeah, he just was. Listen, that's when you know you have a good cast and a good reunion, when literally the host says maybe 17 words the whole episode.
It, like, slightly guides it. It's like, well, I mean, that was just, like, an example. Can you give us more? He's, like, guiding the conversation in that way, not, like, asking real questions.
Criticism. Yeah. Like, do you have an example? Where's the receipts?
Not reading off of cards.
That? Yeah, no. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, I'm so excited for next week. This is great. Remember, follow us on Instagram. I'm gonna post so many tweets I find them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Last episode is next.
But guys, we love you more than this whole fucking cast loves Hannah.